Hi, I'm Stuart Baker, and welcome to another installment of Chamber Talk with the Nevada City Chamber of Commerce. This episode, we have Gary Petersen, our new mayor. Hello, Gary. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Stuart. Happy to be here.
Excellent. And you just became mayor on July 1. Tell us about it. What's it like, and how's it been going?
Well, it's great to be mayor. I love Nevada City and have for a long time. I have a lot of experience in local government. It's a wonderful opportunity to put all that experience to work on behalf of a place that's so wonderful, so magical, and so great to be there. So, I thought a lot about it. I've reorganized the committees. The council's working together well. We're working with staff. So the city is in the best place it's been in a long time, and we're just really getting ready to perform.
Okay, that sounds great. So I know you have some really interesting qualifications coming to this job. You were the Public Works Director in Salinas, and I'm sure you had a host. I had just heard that you were a firefighter in Alaska. Tell us about some of these and other work experiences that have helped you to be in the position that you are now, guiding the city.
Yeah, I ran airports for 30 years, including the Nevada County Airport for a couple of years as well. But my true passion is people and organizations, and I have a background in organizational development. So wherever I went and whatever organizations I worked for, I brought that sensibility, and it's really been a driver. Also, I was raised in a family with a strong tradition of community service, and I have carried that with me through my entire life. So. All my government services, all my volunteer work, I've been on a number of nonprofit boards. All of these come together to educate me about the possibility of community and who we are together and how we choose to build the places we live.
Nice, excellent. And I know that fire safety is your number one concern, or probably one of many, but I know that often comes to the top. Where do you feel like the city is now? What's it doing really well? Where does it really need to up its game a bit more? And where do you feel ultimately, how optimistic are you about the situation in general?
Well, it started, I think 5 or 6 years ago now when the then Mayor Erin Minette took up fire safety and formed a committee. She didn't have the support I think she needed from staff at that time. We since have, with the strategic plan, the community made it clear that the number one priority for our community is wildfire safety and prevention. So we took that to heart. I joined the Fire Safety Advisory Committee well over a year ago. We began to develop plans and began to build partnerships, secure funding through Measure C. The wisdom of our community supported a 2/3 vote to provide about $900,000 a year for this work. We also were able to secure a grant from the governor's office for $250,000 to bring our neighborhoods together in fire-wise communities. So we're doing a lot of that work. With that money, we're able to hire positions. We have our own Office of Emergency Services now that's headed by Evan McLenithan, who's got a background in fire and education. And so we're working very hard to pull our communities together. We're partnering with the county on community wildfire protection plans. We're inspecting properties. We're doing a lot of really essential work. But this is the kind of work that will never end. We're always going to be at threat. I have to agree. I have 8 years in wildland fire. I've seen a lot of fire. But there's nothing like the fires that we have now.
Yeah.
Along with the fire chief last night, who I heard in a meeting say, it's not if, it's when it comes. How well will we be prepared, and how well will we come back from that? Those are the big questions in front of us. The city has dedicated to that. And we're building staff. We just issued a grant to hire more fuel mitigation managers. People are starting to see a lot of work around town, and there's going to be a lot more. So it's going to be something that is really lifting off, really organizing, but at the same time, it's going to be something that everyone has a part of and a piece of, and that we're going to have to do it together as a community, and it has to never end.
Yeah, right. That's the hard part, because you can get people excited, and then it's like, okay, but you got to stay excited for a really long time, for like forever.
Forever, and this is simply the most critical issue that we face.
Right, yeah, no. I know it's not similar to earthquakes in the Bay Area, but it's kind of the same idea. The big one could happen at any time, and it's part of, I feel sometimes, it's not that it's a joy living here, but it makes you appreciate every day that you have, that you're doing okay, and you constantly have to be vigilant. And
Well,
so,
and we've seen that with the loss of several communities, with Greenville and Paradise and Lahaina. And my position on that is we owe every one of those communities to learn from what they went through so that it doesn't happen again.
yeah,
It's really
understandably.
important.
Absolutely. So how about other pet projects that you have that you'd like to see happen that maybe we haven't talked about, or that you're kind of curious about starting?
One of the things, and I know this is housing, and I'm sort of in the background teeing that up. Former Mayor and Council Member Fernandez is now heading up the Housing Committee. We're starting to look at a wide range of options. And Vice Mayor Adam Klein, will be mayor next year, and his focus is housing. So we've started that conversation. That's a big part of it. But also for me, what's really intriguing is the big properties that are sitting vacant in our city or going to be vacant, like the courthouse, the Alpha building, and many of the small buildings. What do we do with those? We've got to do something, and if the private sector is not going to do it, we need to think about the best way for the public sector to do that. But we certainly have some really big assets. Certainly, you look at the Alpha building, it's just sat there for so long, something needs to happen with that.
And or the HEW site.
Or the HEW site is another one. And then the courthouse, and I co-chair with Supervisor Heidi Hall, the best use and reuse of the courthouse committee. So we're starting to look at what could happen with that building when the courts leave. One of the things you learn real quickly, you get to tour the building and you learn why the courts are leaving.
Yeah, right. I know that's
a lot of improvement.
A lot of work, yeah. Absolutely.
But those things I think are really critical to the future of our community. I got into this because I wanted to ensure a viable future for Nevada City, which we have spent the last 4 years completely overhauling the administrative side of the city. New budget, new staff, new everything. Now we're ready to go, and these are areas where I think housing, these big assets, and there's a number of quality of life issues because Nevada City is about quality of life.
Right.
As the chamber knows, our city loves a party, so we got to make sure we have those.
Yeah, absolutely, and I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, housing is important. What workforce housing, particularly for us, that's what we hear from our members. It's like people are coming from Marysville to work here because I can't find anyone local because they can't afford to live here. And so, and we have Cashin's Field, and that was a phenomenal success. Do you see other potential things in the pipeline that could be as massive as Cashin's Field? What was that, 50 units roughly?
Right, and that is a big lift, especially for this area.
Yeah.
And we were able to pull that off, which was really important. I look to Seven Hills. The Seven Hills district in Nevada City, I believe, embodies future potential for Nevada City. No one's going to mess with the historic district, although there's always opportunities to work with existing buildings to add more housing without changing the buildings themselves. We always infill housing. We always need to think about that. But over in Seven Hills, the city owns some property over there. There's other large vacant lots. And so there's real potential, especially as we start to look at that as an area for arts and healing and creating a second district in our city that can, we are a tourism economy, so we need to attract people so that we could do something. And there's some great work happening there already with the revamp of the Onyx. Miriam Morris is out there doing mosaic on that. And they look great,
right.
And we are an arts community, so we really need to embrace that and think about housing for artists, but also, people are only going to drive from Marysville so long till they find another job because the cost and maintaining that workforce housing. We're looking at some stuff that we might be able to do in the short term, not a lot, but everything as an opportunity. We're looking at the county's small homes ordinance.
The tiny homes.
The tiny homes, thinking about how that might apply. And we absolutely understand, everybody understands this city about protecting the quality and character of Nevada City. Nobody's going to mess with that. But we do have other areas where we could expand and grow in alignment with community values, around housing. So that's really important.
Right. And then the issue of short-term rentals, I know it comes up. I know we have some of our members own short-term rentals and rent them out. And I know there are a lot of people as well on the other side that say short-term rentals, we need to go the way of Barcelona, where they've gotten, rid of the Airbnbs, et cetera. What do you feel about that particular issue, or how do you feel the city should approach that issue?
Well, it's a tough issue. I've been in communities that have wrestled with this. There's a lot of legalities involved, and of course, we live in a country where we don't like anybody to tell us what to do with our property.
Yeah.
I think we need to put limits on it. I think we need to balance the use. We're a tourist economy. Again, we want people to come here and stay here and spend money here, and that's one way it happens. I'm also very concerned about house banking. I live on a street with 3 very large vacant houses that are used for nothing. People just own them and keep them as an investment.
Wow.
And there are houses like that all over our town.
Yeah.
And so I think it's not just one answer like the Airbnb, although Airbnbs pay transient occupancy tax, the hotel tax. We need to make sure for those that do exist that they're in the system so that we can collect that money. As I always like to say, you got to pay for a city.
Absolutely.
And in our city, every dime matters.
Right.
So we need to look at it closely. We're teeing that up as part of the housing conversation. Just make sure, and I think for me, it's always going to be how we balance. It's not just no, never, not do this. That was tried before in the city and failed because a lot of people need it in order to pay for their houses. So we need to juggle that and balance that, and I think we're capable of doing that.
No, that's great. So any final thoughts, anything you'd like to have our viewers understand either about the city or about what your priorities are, anything like that?
Well, I briefly want to go back to fire for a minute, just to talk about how every citizen has a role in that. And we know we've completed over 1,100 property inspections. Most of it went well. The community's getting used to that. But there's people that are really resistant to it. We're going to have to work together very closely on this because what we're really trying to preserve here is Nevada City. Nevada City is a place that's absolutely unique to any other place. That's why we're here. I love the idea. I've worked in some really massive, hardcore cities and counties and stuff. I'm in Nevada City. I can talk about magic. It's a magic place. I can talk about enlightenment. People come here to be enlightened. I talk about the arts in our community and talk about what a unique and special place this is and how we need to make sure that we make it available multi-generational, multicultural, that everybody who wants to be here can find a place to be here. So we've got a lot of work to do that, but the vibrancy of this community and when you talk to people that have been here for decades, you ask them why they're here, and they will tell you it's a community. And it is a community, and I declared the year of the neighborhood in order to weave that fabric even tighter. We have been a community for a very long time, but like everyone, COVID, the political dynamics have really beaten. Social media have really eroded that cultural fabric, even though in Nevada City it's stronger than it is in many places. But we need to consciously shore that up to make sure that we remain connected to each other in a way that builds community and preserves what we know as home.
Nice. That's great. Wow. I'm impressed. So I'm excited about this
Stuart, I'm happy.
Excellent. Well, Gary, thank you so much. Much appreciated getting your wisdom, and thank you for serving. We know it's one of those jobs that it's really tough, and you're compensated by the goodness of your heart, and we all appreciate that. So
thank you, Stuart.
Anyway,
it's a pleasure.
Perfect. Yeah. So that's it for today, and hope you enjoyed our talk, and we'll see you next time.